Imagine holding a piece of history in your hands, like a dusty old text, maybe a fragment of an ancient inscription, or some weathered tablet. It's incomplete, maybe even deliberately scratched out or defaced. How on earth do historians piece these puzzles together? It's like being handed, I don't know, maybe five crucial pieces of a million-piece jigsaw puzzle. Really frustrating, right? Welcome to our deep dive. Today, we're looking at an incredible technological leap from Google DeepMind, an AI model called Aeneas. Our mission for you today is to explore how this cutting-edge AI is changing the game for historians, how it helps them connect with and, well, understand our ancient past. It's making things that seemed impossible or just incredibly time-consuming possible in literally seconds.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We've been digging into a recent publication from Google DeepMind that introduces Aeneas. It details all its capabilities, these groundbreaking features, and how historians are already using it out in the field. It really feels like a new era for discovery.
Okay, so today we'll unpack the historical challenge it tackles, dive into how Aeneas actually works its magic, and we'll get into some of those surprising aha moments it's delivering, not just for researchers, but really for how all of us can get a better handle on history. So let's set the scene first. Think about the Roman world. It was this vibrant, complex place, and writing was, well, it was everywhere, truly ubiquitous.
Hmm.
It wasn't just etched onto grand imperial monuments or, official decrees. No, no. It was on everyday objects, scrawled on walls as political graffiti, maybe love poems.
Right. Or business deals, even magical spells scribbled down.
Exactly. These inscriptions give us such incredibly rich, diverse insights into daily life, the whole intricate tapestry of the Roman world. It goes way beyond just emperors and battles.
It really does. And, it makes you realize how little human nature actually changes.
Totally. But despite having all this material, this incredible abundance, the core problem for historians is, well, these texts are often broken, fragmentary.
Yeah, badly weathered by time or, like you said, sometimes deliberately damaged. So traditionally, restoring them, figuring out when they were written, dating them precisely, and placing them accurately, it's almost impossible without really deep contextual information.
Especially when you're trying to compare similar inscriptions, I guess.
Exactly. Historians have always relied on their immense expertise to spot these parallels other texts with similarities. Similarities in wording, syntax, maybe standardized formulas they used, or even just where they came from, their provenance.
Wow.
And this is just incredibly complex work, really intense, time-consuming stuff. We're talking years of dedicated scholarship, sometimes a lifetime of specialized knowledge.
That really paints a picture of the sheer scale of the challenge. It's huge.
Yeah,
And that's
quite.
exactly where Aeneas steps in, right?
Precisely.
Named after the wandering hero of Greco-Roman mythology, which is kind of cool.
It is. And it's the first AI model specifically designed for this, for contextualizing ancient inscriptions.
When I first read about it, what really struck me was just the scale of what it promised to do.
Well, what's truly remarkable is how Aeneas completely transforms this process. It can reason across thousands of Latin inscriptions and pull up textual and contextual parallels in just seconds.
Seconds! That's incredible.
It is. And this allows historians to interpret, attribute meaning, and restore these fragmentary texts much, much faster. It gives them a crucial starting point, a launch pad for their own deep dives.
And it's not just for Latin, is it?
No, that's
No.
another key point. It's versatility. It's designed to be adaptable. It can potentially work with other ancient languages, different scripts, even other kinds of historical media like papyri or old coins.
Okay.
This flexibility means it can help draw connections across a much wider range of historical evidence. And we should definitely mention it was co-developed with several top universities, Nottingham, Warwick, Oxford in the UK, and the Athens University of Economics and Business, AUEB.
Right.
It's part of this bigger effort to explore how generative AI can help historians identify and interpret these parallels at a scale that was just unthinkable before.
And importantly, this isn't some tool locked away in a Google lab, right? People can actually use it.
Absolutely. There's an interactive version freely available online at predictingthepast.com. Anyone can go and explore it. And to help other researchers, students, museum folks, the code and the data set it was trained on are totally open sourced.
That's fantastic, really democratizing access to this kind of power. So, okay, we've talked about how it helps restore missing bits, but you said its capabilities go further than that. What makes it so advanced compared to older AI tools?
Yeah, there are several things that really set Aeneas apart. First, it's parallel search. It's amazing. It basically turns each ancient text into a unique kind of historical fingerprint.
A fingerprint, okay.
Yeah, and that lets it identify these really deep connections between texts, placing inscriptions within their broader historical context in a new way. Second, and this is a big one, it's the first model that can figure out where a text came from, its geographical provenance, by analyzing both the text and visual information, like pictures of the inscription itself.
Ah, so it looks at the stone, the carving style, things like that.
Exactly. That multimodal input processing is a real breakthrough because sometimes the visual clues are just as important as the words.
Makes sense.
Third, Aeneas can restore gaps in texts even when the length of the missing section is unknown.
Wow, that must be common with heavily damaged stuff.
Incredibly common and incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
So this ability makes it way more versatile. And finally, putting it all together, it just sets a new state-of-the-art benchmark for restoring damaged texts, predicting when they were written, and predicting where they came from.
So how does it actually do all this? What's under the hood?
Okay, so at its core, Aeneas is what's called a multimodal generative neural network.
Okay, breaking that down.
Think of it like a super smart AI brain. It learns from both text and images, kind of like we do, but just on a massive scale.
Yeah.
It takes the inscription's text and a picture of the inscription as its input.
Got it. Text and image.
And to train it, they assembled this huge, carefully curated dataset. Okay, it's called a Latin epigraphic dataset, or LED. It contains over 176,000 Latin inscriptions.
Wow.
And this data was meticulously gathered from decades of painstaking work by historians, compiled in amazing digital collections like the epigraphic database Roma, Heidelberg, Claus Slaby.
So it's building on all that previous scholarship.
Exactly. It really stands on the shoulders of giants. All these records were cleaned up, harmonized, linked together into this single data set that the machine could actually process. That was the raw material for Aeneas to learn from.
And those historical fingerprints you mentioned, how does it create those from the data?
Right. So the model uses something called a transformer-based decoder to process the text. That's a type of AI architecture that's particularly brilliant at understanding sequences like language. Then there are specialized parts of the network that handle restoring characters and figuring out the date, just using the text. But for figuring out where it came from, the geographical part, it uses the images as well. And for each inscription, Aeneas has this contextualization mechanism. It retrieves that list of parallels using a technique called embeddings. These embeddings basically encode all the important info, what the text says, its language, when and where it's from, and crucially, how it relates to other inscriptions into that historical fingerprint.
So it's like giving each inscription its own unique digital ID tag.
Sort of, yeah.
That captures all its key features. And then the AI can instantly find others with similar tags, no matter how subtle the connection.
That's a pretty good way to think about it.
Grr.
And it's incredibly powerful.
Okay, but how does this translate into, actual historical debates, the kind scholars argue about for centuries?
This is where it gets really exciting for historians. They tested Aeneas on exactly that kind of thing. They gave it one of the most famous Roman inscriptions ever, the Res Gestae Divi Augusti.
Augustus's own account of his achievements.
That's the one. Emperor Augustus writing in the first person. And historians have argued for ages about exactly when it was finalized and inscribed.
Okay, so what did Aeneas say?
Well, instead of just spitting out a single date, Aeneas produced this detailed probability distribution, a range of possible dates. And interestingly, it showed two distinct peaks, a smaller one clustering around 10 to 1 BCE, and then a larger, more confident peak between 10 and 20 CE.
Whoa, so it didn't just pick a side?
No. It quantitatively captured both of the main scholarly hypotheses about the dating.
That's not just fascinating, that's kind of a game changer, isn't it?
It really is.
It means historians can maybe move beyond these either arguments and get a data-driven sense of how certain we can be about dates. It adds nuance where maybe there was just argument before.
Precisely. Aeneas based its predictions on really subtle linguistic features in the text, and historical markers like official titles or monuments mentioned. By turning the dating question into this probabilistic estimate, grounded in linguistic and contextual data, the model offers a new, quantitative way to engage with these long-standing debates.
That's huge.
And what's more, Aeneas also pulled up loads of relevant parallels from imperial legal texts linked to Augustus's legacy. This showed how the whole ideology of the Roman Empire was reproduced across different types of writing and different places.
So it's finding connections across genres, too.
Exactly. Now, in terms of raw performance, it's pretty impressive. Aeneas restores damaged inscriptions with about 73% top 20 accuracy for gaps up to 10 characters. And even when the length of the gap is unknown, which is super hard, it still gets 58% accuracy.
Still pretty good for such a tough task.
Very good. And it can attribute an inscription to one of 62 ancient Roman provinces with 72% accuracy, partly thanks to using that visual data.
Right, the images.
And for dating, it typically places a text within about 13 years of the date ranges historians provide. Plus, crucially, it offers interpretable reasoning. It uses these things called saliency maps.
Okay.
They basically highlight visually which words or parts of the image the AI paid most attention to when making its prediction. So you can see why it thinks what it thinks.
That transparency is key, isn't it? So it's not just a black box. That's incredible accuracy, especially given how messy and fragmented this data must be. But what about the human element, the collaboration? You mentioned a study with 23 historians. How did that work out? What did we learn about this human-AI partnership?
Yeah, that study was really important. And the key finding was crystal clear. The best results, the most effective outcomes, happen when historians used Aeneas's contextual information, those parallels alongside its specific predictions, for restoring texts or figuring out where they came from.
So synergy, not replacement.
Absolutely. It really showed that combining human expertise with the AI's power leads to superior results. It's not about the AI taking over.
Yeah.
The historians consistently said Aeneas was incredibly valuable for speeding up their work and, maybe more importantly, expanding the range of relevant parallel inscriptions they could find and consider.
Things they might have missed otherwise.
Exactly. There was this great quote from one anonymized historian in the study. They said, Aeneas's parallels completely changed my perception of the inscription. It noticed details that made all the difference for restoring and chronologically attributing the text.
Wow, that really says it all. What stood out to you about that collaborative approach? Anything surprising, maybe?
Well, one interesting observation was how the historians maybe initially focused on just the restoration task, filling in the blanks. But they quickly realized the huge value of that parallel search feature.
It's a context.
The context, exactly. It wasn't just about the missing letters anymore. It was about gaining totally new perspectives on the inscription's place in history, its connections. It actually led them down entirely new avenues of inquiry sometimes. It just broadened their understanding of how one single artifact connects to this massive web of historical data.
That really underscores how these tools augment, not automate, that deep human expertise. So let's connect this to the bigger picture then. How might tools like Aeneas shape the future of historical research? And maybe even beyond history?
Well, Aeneas is specifically designed to fit right into how historians already work, their existing research workflows. It offers these interpretable suggestions, these parallels, as really valuable starting points for their own inquiry. It empowers them to ask deeper, more nuanced questions.
And it's expanding beyond Latin, you said.
That's right. Ithaca, which was the model for ancient Greek, has now been upgraded. It's powered by Aeneas now, so it gets all these advanced contextualization and restoration abilities too.
Right.
And beyond pure research, there's a big educational component now as well. A new teaching syllabus has been co-designed. The idea is to bridge the technical skills needed to use these tools with traditional historical thinking right in the classroom.
Building AI literacy for historians.
Exactly. And this aligns with major AI literacy initiatives happening globally.
Yeah.
The European Commission's frameworks, UNESCO's AI competency work, the OECD's framework too. So the broader mission here for the Aeneas team is really to keep partnering with subject matter experts, historians, archaeologists.
Yeah.
To shed more light on our ancient past. It embodies that whole goal of building AI responsibly, to benefit humanity.
So there you have it. We've seen how Aeneas isn't just some technical marvel, is it? It's really a powerful companion for historians. It's revealing connections, finding insights that were maybe hidden before or just took way too long to uncover. It's a tool that truly seems to empower the human experts, letting them ask deeper questions, better questions, and speed up our collective understanding of history.
Absolutely. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? It raises this important question, maybe for you listening to mull over. How might AI, when it's designed collaboratively like this to reveal hidden patterns and connections, how might it unlock secrets in other complex fields? Think about biology or maybe art history or literature. How could it transform how we discover and understand the world all around us?